Hey everyone, and welcome back to Language Launchpad, your go-to podcast for leveling up your English skills. Today, we're diving into a topic that many of you, especially those just starting out, have been asking about: learning English from absolute zero with a special focus on speaking slowly. It can feel really daunting, right? Like, where do you even begin? And how do you get past that initial fear of sounding awkward? To help us navigate this, I'm super excited to have speaker 2 with us, an experienced language coach who specializes in helping beginners find their voice. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here and chat about this. You know, that feeling of dread, that fear of making mistakes, it's totally normal. I've seen it countless times. But what I always tell my students, especially the absolute beginners, is that speaking slowly isn't a sign of weakness. It's a superpower. It's actually one of the most effective strategies to build confidence and accuracy right from the start.
A superpower? I love that framing. Can you elaborate a bit on why speaking slowly is such a game changer for someone who's literally at square one? Because I think many people feel pressured to speak fast to sound fluent.
Absolutely. Think about it. When you're just starting, your brain is doing so much work. You're trying to recall vocabulary, remember grammar rules, process what you're hearing, and then formulate a response, all at once. If you try to rush that process, you end up stumbling, getting frustrated, and often just giving up. Speaking slowly gives your brain the crucial time it needs. It allows you to 1. Access the words you know, 2. Try to put them together correctly, and 3. Actually hear yourself, which is vital for self-correction. It's about quality over speed, especially in the beginning. It builds a solid foundation.
That makes so much sense. So if someone is listening right now, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, and they want to embrace this slow speaking superpower, what's the very first practical step they should take? How do they start doing it?
Great question. The absolute first step is to consciously choose to slow down. It sounds simple, but it requires intention. When you're about to speak, take a tiny breath, a pause. Then, focus on enunciating each word clearly. Don't worry about trying to use complex sentences. Start with simple phrases. For instance, instead of trying to say, "I'm really enjoying this weather, it's lovely," just say, "This weather is nice." Break it down. Use short, simple sentences. And don't be afraid of silence. Pauses are your friend. They give you time to think and the listener time to process.
I can really see how those pauses could be incredibly helpful. It's almost like giving your brain a little mini reset button before each thought. What about pronunciation? Sometimes, even if you speak slowly, getting the sounds right can be a hurdle.
Oh, absolutely. Pronunciation is key, and speaking slowly helps with it. When you speak slowly, you have the opportunity to really focus on shaping your mouth and tongue for each sound. Try repeating words after a native speaker, but do it really slowly, exaggerating the mouth movements a little. Tools like online dictionaries that have audio pronunciations are fantastic. Just repeat hello 10 times slowly, focusing on that H sound and the O sound. Then try cat, focusing on the short ah. It's like vocal exercises. And don't aim for perfection right away. Aim for clear enough to be understood.
That's a really actionable tip. So we're talking about conscious effort, simple sentences, using pauses, and practicing pronunciation slowly. Are there any specific exercises or daily habits you recommend for someone who's completely new to this?
Definitely. One highly effective exercise is called shadowing, but adapted for beginners. Listen to a short, simple audio clip, maybe a children's story or a very basic dialogue. First, just listen. Then, listen again and slowly repeat what you hear, a few words behind the speaker. Don't worry about matching their speed. Just focus on mimicking their pronunciation and intonation at your pace. Another great habit is simply describing your immediate surroundings or your daily routine out loud to yourself in English. I am holding a cup. The wall is white. I will eat breakfast now. Do it slowly. It helps you activate those words you're learning in real time without the pressure of a conversation.
I love that idea of describing your surroundings. It makes learning so much more practical and integrated into your daily life. And it removes that performance anxiety when you're just talking to yourself. What about overcoming the fear of judgment or the feeling that you're just not getting it? Because that can be a huge barrier.
That's a crucial point, and it's something everyone, even advanced learners, struggles with at times. My advice is to reframe those feelings. Every mistake is actually just a learning opportunity. Think of it like a baby learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, but they don't stop trying because they're afraid of judgment. They just keep going. Find a supportive learning partner if you can, or join a beginner-friendly online group where everyone is in the same boat. And celebrate every tiny victory. Being able to say, "My name is," clearly and slowly, is a huge win when you're starting from zero. Remember, progress, not perfection, and be kind to yourself.
Progress, not perfection. That's such a vital mindset for any new skill, especially language learning. And being kind to yourself is something we often forget. So to wrap things up, if you could offer one final piece of encouragement to someone feeling overwhelmed at the very beginning of their English journey, what would it be?
It would be this. Your journey is unique, and every single person who speaks English fluently today started exactly where you are, with zero. Embrace the slowness, celebrate the small steps, and understand that consistency beats intensity every single time. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle or end. Just focus on your next slow, clear sentence. You absolutely have what it takes. Just keep speaking, one slow word at a time.
That's incredibly inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and practical advice with us today. For anyone listening who's ready to take that first step, remember, slow and steady truly wins the race when it comes to learning English from zero. Focus on those clear, deliberate words, embrace the pauses, and be patient with yourself. Thank you for joining us on Language Launchpad, and we'll catch you next time. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that so many of you have asked about, how to truly master English through slow, deliberate practice, and ultimately achieve that fluent English accent we all admire. It's a journey, not a sprint, right?
Absolutely. It's fantastic to be here. And you've hit on something crucial. It really is a journey. People often get frustrated because they're looking for quick fixes, but real progress, especially with something as nuanced as accent and fluency, comes from consistent, focused effort. Slow and steady wins the race definitely applies here.
I love that. So let's break this down. What exactly do we mean by slow practice in the context of learning English? It sounds almost counterintuitive when everyone's pushing for speed.
That's a great point. Slow practice isn't about speaking slowly all the time. It's a learning technique borrowed from musicians and athletes, really. It means breaking down complex tasks into smaller, manageable parts and practicing them at a reduced pace to build precision, accuracy, and muscle memory. For English learners, this applies to everything from individual sounds to entire sentences, and even how you think.
Muscle memory for language, that's interesting. Can you give us an example of how someone would apply this slow practice to improve their pronunciation?
Of course. Let's take a challenging sound, like the th sound in English. Many non-native speakers struggle with it. Instead of just trying to say the quickly, slow practice means isolating that th sound. You'd focus on where your tongue is placed between your teeth and how the air flows out. You might repeat just th slowly, feeling the vibration. Then you'd slowly build it into a word like three, extending each part. You're consciously engaging your mouth muscles, your tongue, your lips, your jaw. It's almost like a physical workout for your mouth, you know?
That makes so much sense. It's like deconstructing the sound. And then, how do you integrate those individual sounds back into natural speech? Because, we don't speak one sound at a time.
Exactly. Once you've mastered the isolated sound, you then practice words, then short phrases, then sentences, all slowly at first. For instance, if you're practicing through, you'd say through very deliberately, focusing on the transition from th to r to ow. You might even record yourself and listen back, identifying exactly where you're stumbling. This feedback loop is crucial. Gradually, as those connections become stronger and more automatic, you increase your speed and it starts to feel natural.
Okay, so slow practice is a foundational tool. Now, let's talk about the big goal, achieving a fluent English accent. What does that actually mean? Is it about sounding exactly like a native speaker from a specific region or something else entirely?
That's a fantastic question, and it's where a lot of learners get caught up. For most people, achieving a truly fluent English accent isn't about eliminating your natural accent entirely and sounding like you were born in, say, London or New York. That's often an unrealistic and, frankly, unnecessary goal. What we're aiming for is clarity, intelligibility, and naturalness. It means speaking in a way that is easily understood by native speakers and other English speakers without excessive effort on their part to decipher what you're saying. It's about rhythm, intonation, and stress patterns as much as individual sounds.
So it's more about effective communication than perfect mimicry. That's a huge relief for many, I'm sure. But how do we actually work on those elements, rhythm, intonation, stress, to sound more natural?
This is where listening actively comes in hand with slow practice. You need to become a super listener. Don't just hear the words, listen for the music of the language. English is a stress-timed language, meaning certain words are emphasized and others are reduced. For example, in the sentence, I want to go to the store, the stressed words carry the main meaning. The to's and the are often reduced to very quick, almost swallowed sounds. Listen for how native speakers connect words, how they rise and fall in pitch. That's intonation. Try to shadow them, meaning you listen to a short phrase, then pause, and try to repeat it exactly, matching their rhythm and intonation. Start slow, then gradually speed up.
Shadowing sounds incredibly effective. What kind of materials should learners use for this kind of practice? Are we talking news broadcasts, podcasts like this, movies?
All of the above, honestly, but with a specific focus. For shadowing, start with materials that are clear and have a consistent speaker. News broadcasts, audiobooks, or even YouTube channels dedicated to English learning can be excellent. Find someone whose accent you admire for its clarity and naturalness. Don't pick something too fast initially. Start with short sentences, repeat, internalize, then move to longer chunks. And, critically, you need to use a tool to slow down the audio. Most podcast apps and video players have a speed control. Use it. Practice at 0.75x or 0.5x speed until you can confidently mimic the rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation. Then gradually increase to normal speed.
That's a fantastic tip about slowing down the audio. It really brings slow practice into the digital age. What about the mental aspect? Learning a language, especially trying to refine an accent, can be really vulnerable. How do people stay motivated and overcome the fear of making mistakes?
That's huge. The fear of making mistakes is probably the biggest barrier. First, you have to reframe mistakes. They aren't failures, they're feedback. Every time you mispronounce something, it's an opportunity to learn exactly what you need to adjust. Second, consistency is key. Even if it's just 10 to 15 minutes a day of focused, slow practice, small, consistent efforts compound over time. Celebrate those tiny victories. Maybe you finally nailed that R sound, or you correctly linked two words without a pause. And finally, find a community. Practice with a language partner, join a conversation group. You'll realize everyone is on their own journey, and support can make a huge difference.
Such valuable advice. It sounds like a combination of smart techniques, consistent effort, and a positive mindset. So for someone starting today, what's one actionable step they can take right after listening to this episode to kickstart their slow practice and journey towards a more fluent accent?
Okay, one actionable step. Pick a short sentence from an English podcast or video that you like, maybe 5 to 7 words. Use the slowdown feature. Listen to it multiple times at 0.75x speed. Then try to repeat it, focusing only on the rhythm and intonation, not just the individual sounds. Record yourself, listen back, compare it to the original. Do this for 5 minutes. That's it. Just 5 minutes, but do it every day for a week and you'll already start noticing a difference in English rhythm. It's truly transformative.
That's incredibly practical. And speaker too, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation, packed with actionable strategies. Thank you so much for breaking down slow practice and demystifying what it means to achieve a fluent English accent. It's clear that with patience and the right techniques, anyone can make significant progress.
My pleasure. Remember, every little bit of conscious effort adds up. Be patient with yourself, enjoy the process, and embrace your unique voice. You've got this.